Hi guys, I have a lot of other things to do, as for example my rambling, so I want to get this comparison done, and I know there have been a lot of them lately here on the channel, but I kinda enjoy doing them. So today we have the Nexus 6P against the Samsung Galaxy S7, and I know it would make a lot more sense to compare with the Edge version, but since I don't have that right on hand right now, just imagine the size difference being a little bit smaller. Other than that, what do we have in terms of design and build? The Nexus 6P, obviously premium aluminum build, really well done because it feels super substantial, doesn't creak or bend, so really good job here. Also the aluminum is a lot grippier than I expected it to be, same as for the thickness, because due to the tempered edges it feels a lot thinner in the hand than I thought it would be, which is not the same feeling for the compact size, because the bezels on the sides, top and bottom, are a little bit bigger than I expected it to be. So don't get me wrong, it maybe doesn't feel super compact, but it feels very thin and very premium, so I can live with that compromise. What do we have in terms of the Samsung Galaxy S7? Glass on both sides, so either you like it or you don't like it. I personally like it a lot because glass on glass gives me the perfect compromise of a really premium in-hand feel, a very smooth one, but also enough grip, so no problems for me. And the curved sides make this device really easy to hold on. It feels really compact, because if we check the bezels here, they have been made a lot nicer, very thin, really nicely done. In terms of the button placement, I definitely prefer the S7 because way lower. On the Nexus I have to quite stretch far up, where I would actually want it to be where the volume rocker is. But in overall you have to decide for yourself what you prefer. Of course I won't consider the size difference here. The S7 Edge though would still be a little bit more compact than I think the Nexus 6P. Premium build on both, really well done. I think just the Samsung Galaxy S7 has the overall more smooth premium and just better feel in hand. In terms of the display though, what do we have to say here? We have QHD on both, but it's not the resolution, and I can't really talk about the sharpness here because we have 5.7 inches on the Nexus 6P, where we only have 5.1 inches on the Samsung Galaxy S7. So of course that one will be sharper, but that's not the point. The point here is the calibration, which I think is a little bit off on the Nexus 6P. Whites are way too warm and colors are way too oversaturated, with just everything looking like it was under too much sun. Everything just looks overburned, just not accurate and not really natural. The S7 though does a way better job here. The white is way better, pretty much exactly where I want it to be. Blacks are both more than solid on both because of the AMOLED contrast ratio as well, but it's the color calibration that is so much better on the S7. Yes, the S7 still has a little bit more boosted and saturated colors than any normal LCD device, but in comparison with the Nexus 6P, it does a way better job in actually still maintaining a quite natural and accurate feel. So hands down, by far the better display out of the box. The Nexus 6P has the advantage of a good kernel support where you can calibrate the colors on your own, but out of the box the Samsung Galaxy S7 definitely wins by miles. Now let's check the sound here. What do we have on the Nexus 6P? And of course, you know it will win. I think it comes with no surprise that the Nexus 6P has a phenomenal speaker, but I also think the one on the S7 isn't that bad. Of course, it's no comparison, not at all, but let's see what we have here. Okay, I know, it doesn't even come close. First of all, we have front stereo facing speakers on the Nexus 6P, and it sounds really loud and doesn't distort or anything, really well balanced. But the S7 Edge doesn't sound bad. Of course, not even close to it being as loud. Position isn't that great because it can be blocked quite easily, but it's quite a rich sound and still loud enough in my experience, and the tonal balance was quite good. So of course the Nexus 6P wins, but the S7 does a decent job, absolutely fine, and I would still say it's one of the better sounding flagships out there on the market. Now if we talk about the performance here, that's a little bit hard to judge because it's quite different in terms of actual scrolling. Where the Nexus 6P, same as already in the Nexus 5X, has a little bit of a blur during the scrolling, it still maintains to be very smooth, very snappy, very zippy, but it doesn't quite reach the level of smoothness or this hovering, floating scrolling of the Samsung Galaxy S7. The S7 just has a really amazing scrolling. all well done. In terms of app launch times, the S7 also slightly wins. Multitasking is quite similar because we have 3 GB on the Nexus 6P, where we have 4 GB, and this actually makes them quite close with each other. In normal use, I had no issues with both of them, all good here. But where the biggest difference is in terms of browsing performance, because the Nexus 6P is flawless, super fast rendering times and a very smooth scrolling, where I noticed more than usual amount of lag on the Samsung Galaxy 7, especially if you use maybe the older browser. Chrome works a lot better, but still doesn't perform quite as good as most of the other flagships out there. In terms of gaming performance, they are both absolutely great, can't really choose a winner here, so all well done. Now, when it comes to the battery life, there's actually quite a noticeable winner, and it's not an Nexus 6P as I would have initially expected, because I've seen so many great values out on the internet, but what I get was 4.5 to maybe even down to 4 hours of screen on time. I would expect more like 4.5, and on Wi-Fi you can reach 5 hours, but it's not what I thought it would be, because I can get quite easily on Wi-Fi only about 6 hours of screen on time on the S7, and in normal use 4.5 to maybe even 5 hours of screen on time in normal mixed use. Now, if we consider the S7 Edge to having an even better battery life, the difference would be even bigger, so just think about that. Now, in terms of software, here will be a very big difference, because we have clear, minimalistic stock Android with an amazing custom ROM support and kernel support as well, so you will get the best of both worlds, a really minimalistic, clean look with the fastest updates, but still the option to go for a custom ROM and get a ton of features. Now, on the Samsung Galaxy S7 we have TouchWiz, which I think is better than ever, and it looks really nice if you use a proper theme. And in terms of capabilities, is actually a little bit ahead of the Nexus, because we have dual window, we have pop-up window, we have a lot of other nice features on hand. Yes, there is a lot of bloat pre-installed, but if you get rid of them, it's still a great experience, and I overall love the software. So if I would have to choose for one of the softwares, just if I wanted to have a stock experience without any rooting or anything, I would actually go for the S7, because the out-of-the-box functionality and feel in hand due to the nicer themes is better. And when I say feel in hand, you know what I mean. The Nexus 6P for me is a little bit too barebone, too minimalistic, without any custom ROMs, without any modding. But if you prefer the cleaner look, which I actually don't think is that great because of the color scheme, but that's definitely personal preference. Now, when it comes down to the camera, we have top-notch cameras on both. Where the Nexus 6P hands down wins quite easily is the selfie game, because here the S7 did disappoint me quite a lot with quite blurry pictures. But once it comes to the back camera and we go into low light photography, the S7 gets great results, really sharp, really bright pictures, really not that much noise. The Nexus 6P holds up quite well, but just can't reach that level. If you go outside, the S7 really knows to impress even more so. After the last update, my pictures got even better because the white balance got corrected from what I see, and it looks phenomenal. We get really great pictures. Not really that much better than, for example, what we got last year, but still an amazing camera. But the Nexus 6P, same as already on the Nexus 5X, I think has an absolutely top-notch, top 3, maybe if we go a little bit lower, top 5 camera after all. So I can't really complain about either one. I would be happy with both of them, but I give the slight win to the S7. Now, let's break it down real quick once again. Design and build quality, I think it's personal preference, but I personally clearly prefer the more round, more organic, smooth, nice in-hand feel and the design. Also in terms of button placement and so on the Samsung Galaxy S7. Display also goes clearly to the S7, way better calibrated. The Nexus is just a little bit too off out of the box. In terms of sound, of course, the Nexus 6P wins by miles, just sounds so much better, no discussion here. When it comes to the performance, it really comes down. The Nexus 6P is a little bit more consistent, doesn't really have that much lag, but doesn't quite reach the super amazing smoothness that I see on the S7, where though I see some occasional TouchWiz lag, if you want to call it like that, but I still think both are performing absolutely well. I personally definitely prefer the Samsung Galaxy S7. It just feels more snappy, even faster in everything like app launch times and all that, so it still wins. But the Nexus 6P is pretty much the closest thing you can get right now on the market. When it comes down to the software, it's personal preference, really what you want. If you use custom ROMs and all that, then the Nexus 6P will definitely satisfy you way more than TouchWiz. But if you get used to TouchWiz, if you actually like it like I do, and the out-of-the-box experience is more important for you, then I actually think the S7 wins. Camera, of course, winner here, the S7 once again. Overall, it just makes the better pictures if selfies maybe aren't that important for you. So it really comes down. And if you watch this comparison, you might think the S7 is the clear winner, but if you maybe see it a little bit more rational, watch both of my reviews closely at other, you will notice that the difference are actually quite close, because both deliver a high-end premium experience. Both are really well built, great displays, good sound, top performance. Software does a great job on both of them if you get used to one or the other. And then we have amazing cameras on both. But I still think the S7, of course, being a little bit newer on the market, like half a year, just does everything a little bit better, except of course the sound. And that's definitely worth it for me. So if you consider the S7 Edge or the Nexus XP and money is no thing, then I think you should go for the Samsung. If money is a thing and you care about the value and you care about things like custom ROMs and all that, being a little bit more flexible, the Nexus could be the one for you. I personally see a lot of benefit in the S7. It just feels better, the display is noticeably better, the camera is better, battery life for some reason is also noticeably better, so I would be okay paying the extra amount of money to get maybe not that much of a better experience, but after all, it is the better experience. But that's only my experience, my opinion. Let me know yours. Which one would you choose and why would you choose it? Why you prefer one thing over the other? That's definitely a lot of a personal preference thing here, especially since we have a Nexus device, which is known as the bare minimalistic device against the bloaty TouchWiz device from Samsung. But they both do a great job and you can't really go wrong with either one. But I think you just go a little bit of the better route here with the S7. So that was it for my comparison of the Nexus and 6P versus the Samsung and S7. I hope you liked it, give it a thumbs up, and if you want to see more content like this, subscribe to my channel and leave me any questions and comments down there below. Okay, until next time, bye.